5'7", weighed in 145 pounds. He holds a professional record, 3 wins, 1 defeat, with 2 wins coming by way of submission. Representing Team Cologne and fighting out of Portage, Indiana, Henry Huff. His opponent across the octagon, fighting out of the red corner, is a freestyle fighter standing 5'7", weight in 145.8 pounds. He holds a professional record, 3 wins, 1 defeat, with 1 win coming by way of knockout and 2 by way of submission. Representing Ironworks Training Center and fighting out of Arcadia, Wisconsin, Felipe Martinez. Your referee in charge of the action, Chris Cloviter.
Bring it in. All right, gentlemen, we went over the rules in the locker room. I want you to fight clean, fight fair, fight hard. Touch gloves. If you want to touch gloves, do it so now.
Blue tape, gray shorts for 30-year-old Henry Huff. Red tape, black trunks for Felipe Martinez. We are set for 3 5-minute rounds in the LFA featherweight division. Ron Kruk and Michael Chiesa with you for LFA number 120.
Right away, Huff taking the center. Felipe doing exactly what I thought he'd do, kind of skirting on the outside. You'll see him change stances a lot as well. But one thing he does very well that you don't see a lot of guys do until they you start racking up more professional fights is he does a really good job setting his kicks up with his punches. Rarely do you see him throw a lot of naked kicks, you know, and for a guy that relies heavy on his kicking game, sometimes guys are inept at throwing those naked kicks, the ones that Pat Miletich and I love so much.
You sure do. Henry Huff said the plan was to get him on the cage and then dump him on his head. He feels that he can get a win tonight by way of submission. For Martinez, he said he's just got to stay busy, defend those takedowns. He feels he'll get frustrated when he stops the takedowns, and his stand-up will be the key. I like what he said, watch my kicks. I used to play soccer. I'm going to start at the legs and work my way up.
And right as he said that, starts attacking the body. And one thing that Martinez does really good, he's got really good power with his check punches. I watched some of his previous fights, and he was backing up in the southpaw stance, and he floored a guy with the left straight. Just a short little straight check punch and really slept the guy. So Huff's got to be careful coming to crash in and put him on the fence because he can run into one of those check punches from Martinez.
Absolutely. Martinez, one of those guys that just loves to destroy the legs and right on cue.
Yeah, for people that are watching back home, when somebody lands a leg kick, the ones that slap are the ones that do not hurt at all. But when you hear Martinez land these kicks, I mean, it's a thud. Those are the ones that count, Joe. Those are the ones I talk about. Yeah, those are the ones that count.
Right kick blocked by Huff. 3-1, 2 victories coming by way of submission, 1 decision. Martinez, 1 knockout win and 2 submissions.
I really like the way Martinez skirts away from the pressure of Huff. Like, you don't ever really see him backing up on a straight line. He'll take 1 or 2 steps straight back, and then you'll see him cut an angle and use his lateral movement to get away, which is great because if he backs straight up, Huff's just going to run him right into the fence and do exactly what he said he wants to do. I think Huff's having a tough time finding that opening to crash the distance and put him against the fence.
Yeah,
do a little street fighter.
That was pretty slick.
Little street fighter, low kick. I don't know what that was, but that was interesting.
It didn't land, but it looked good. And nice shot to the body from Martinez.
That was a great left hook to the body.
Oh, and a big knee. He's working that liver now.
Yeah, I like what he's doing right here. Martinez has the underhook, and I like what he's doing, controlling the wrist with his other hand. That makes it to where Huff can't drop down and get his hands locked together. You can tell Martinez is prepared for this type of fight.
Absolutely. Training at Ironworks Training Center, Emmerman. Very solid gym. Went 7-0 as an amateur, won 5 amateur titles.
Sheesh. That dude's got quite the trophy case.
Absolutely.
You know, one thing, don't be surprised if you see Martinez go for a takedown on his own. He times his takedowns very well. For a guy that really kind of prides himself on a kickboxer. As a kickboxer, he times really good takedowns. So there's nothing you can do to throw off a guy that wants to grapple you than initiating a grappling exchange.
And Huff ate a massive shot there from Martinez, and now Felipe Martinez has an opportunity as we're approaching 1 minute to go in the opening round.
Yeah, he landed a really nice shot there and looking to backstep and get to side control, but Huff trying to work from the double butterfly guard right now, so we'll see. If I'm Huff, I want to sit up with the butterfly hooks. I want to sit up and get underneath him, because if you sit up with those butterfly hooks, you can scoot your butt underneath him and you can elevate Martinez off the mat. But when you have your butterfly hooks and you're laying flat on your back, there's really not a lot you can do with them. And it's a good position if you're the guy on top to land punches if the guy is not using the butterfly hooks the way they're intended for.
Now Martinez just putting all his weight down on Henry Huff. You can see the strike opened up a cut on the face of Henry Huff.
Yeah, it looks like Huff's trying to roll to the legs. Martinez is having none of it. Huff's starting to finally use those butterfly hooks the way they're intended, but too little too late as the first round comes to a close.
Solid opening round for Felipe Martinez. How do you have Huff rebounds here and there? The cut is under the eye on Henry Huff. Shouldn't be a factor unless Martinez can open it up. Round number 2 underway here from the Mystic Lake Casino outside Minneapolis, Minnesota. LFA 120. And now Huff punches his way in.
Yeah, and he's looking to crash the distance, get to the clinch against the fence. That's where he's got the best, that's the best path to victory for him in this fight. But I mean, Martinez is doing a lot of good things. He's savvy to these types of techniques, and you can tell a lot of guys will say, oh yeah, I train with good wrestlers. It doesn't really show in their performances, but you can tell that Martinez is training with the wrestlers, really is shining in this fight. Looks like Huff's rocking a nice meat biscuit under that right eye. Jamie, our producer, saying he's got a hematoma. I go, no.
No, that's a meat biscuit.
That's a meat biscuit.
That's the technical term, I believe.
I think I got that from somebody after Michael Bisping rematched Dan Henderson. He had that big one.
Yes.
Someone on Twitter said it, called it a meat biscuit. I said, oh, I'm taking that one to the bank. I'll never let that one go.
That is fantastic.
Yes, good job.
Shoulder. Huff.
And by Huff pressing the offense to get into the fence, you're kind of sucking Martinez into his game. Even though Martinez has him on the fence now, that's still good for Huff. This is where Huff wants the fight to take place, and you can do that as somebody that is a grappler myself. You launch yourself into those situations, and you can suck your opponent into engaging in them just the way Martinez is now. That's where Huff wants the fight to take place. Whether he's on the fence with his back or he's pressing them against the fence, he wants the fight there.
Felipe Martinez continuing to fire away those kicks.
Oh, his evasive maneuvers are a thing of beauty. I mean, goes side to side. Just, you can see that this guy's, he's very proficient with his offense and his defense.
We mentioned that he lost his LFA debut. That was back in February of 2020. Says it was a learning experience. He really learned a lot. He is a better athlete now. His cardio's better. He's more well-rounded. Now Huff looking for a takedown. Martinez so far able to fend it off.
Yeah, he did a good job just shrugging him off. And like I said, the good things that Martinez is doing is he's not giving Huff the opportunity to get his hands locked. Huff needs to get his hands locked to get these takedowns, to secure these positions. So Martinez will get an underhook and control the other wrist. And that's the best way to keep a guy from getting his hands locked, is you got to control his hands, you got to control his wrists. Oh, Huff sneaking a little left knee in there. Trying to give Martinez a meat biscuit of his own. There's no better way to do it by kneeing him in the face.
Meat biscuits for everyone tonight.
Great hips from Martinez.
Who may have stunned Huff.
Yeah, he's starting to let his hands fly. I like what he's doing there, landing the right uppercut and going right to the right straight right afterwards. You jack their head up and then you pile it down with the straight. Good stuff from Martinez.
side of the head from Martinez.
Great defense from Martinez. I mean, look at that. Just keeping him from locking his hands. Gets back to the center of the octagon. And Huff's got to be careful lunging in with those types of combinations. He's got to keep his balance because, like I said, Martinez has big power with his check shots.
Approaching the 1 minute mark here of the second round.
Huff doing a little stutter step, trying to get him to bite on a fake, making a read.
Man, even with that block from Huff, that is a powerful head kick.
You can tell that Martinez he's got above average kicking power, to say the least. I mean, the kicks, there's not a lot of load on them. They have a lot of good snaps. So like you said, Ron, you block those kicks, they're still going to rock you. Your arm isn't going to stop the kick, you know. So especially when you kick as hard as Martinez, those are going to get through for sure.
The former soccer player, Felipe Martinez, 29 years old, fighting out of Arcadia, Wisconsin.
Hard 20 here, hard 20.
Riding a 2-fight win streak. Comes in as Tapology's number 4 ranked featherweight in the state of Wisconsin. And right now, Martinez is really cruising along. Horn sounds, and we will head to the third and sees the positioning, and there he was just waving to the camera as well.
That's when you can tell that somebody's very present in this fight. You can tell that somebody can look at the big screen, kind of start waving at people, and you can tell that sometimes that can be a bad thing, but when you're in the driver's seat the way Martinez is right now, sure, have a little fun with it.
You bet. And once again, Henry Huff punching his way in. See if he has a little bit more sense of urgency here in the third round.
Yeah, and this is where that not having that big weight cut's really going to come into play, because he's going to have to push the action. You know, if I was a betting man, I'd say he's definitely down 2 love, pretty clear cut. So he's really got to turn up the tempo. And if you really believe in your cardio, you got to not be afraid to get tired. You got to be able to push yourself. And right as I say that, he gets his first real successful takedown of the fight. Maybe Martinez is letting off the gas a little bit.
Operating from half guard, we'll see what Henry Huff can do. Again, 2 submission victories. He has a mounted guillotine and an arm triangle submission win. So this guy is very comfortable on the ground.
Oh, and Huff, he will take his time in these positions. He's not a guy that's going to posture up from this half guard to give Martinez the space to scramble up. He's going to smother him. He's going to take away the space and slowly creep into these submissions or these better positions. So Martinez has to be careful on bottom. You know, you're getting smothered. He needs to not control the wrist. If he starts trying to control the wrist from bottom, he's going to get, you know, Huff's going to roll over and land that elbow. So this is right where this is a Henry Huff fight. When he can get a fight into this position, this is when he has his best success.
Plenty of time to operate. Final rounds. And an opportunity for the 30-year-old Portage, Indiana, making his LFA debut tonight.
You know, and he's kind of in a tough position here, Ron, because I would be saying pass. You know, Martinez has the legs opened up. Huff kind of has his legs stapled down with that right instep. But if you start passing, you start giving him the space to start to get up. I believe, you know, from my expertise as a grappler, I like being in half guard better to control a guy than I do being in side mount.
Interesting.
But on the other side of it, you're down 2 love. You need a finish. You need to pass the side control to start setting up some submission attempts. So he's kind of stuck in a rock and a hard place right now.
Coming up on the midway point of the third round.
Martinez getting back to full guard.
He's pushing him over, pulling Martinez over to the fence, listening to his corner.
Ooh, knee to the keister. Yeah. I mean, it looks pretty hard, but I don't think it's not going to get any closer to finishing the fight. If I'm Huff and he's back to full guard, now's the time to start posturing up and landing some strikes. If you're in half guard trying to pass and get submissions, you smother him. But right here, he's in close guard. He's keeping himself there. Posture up and start raining down some blows.
Great insight from Michael Chiesa. Martinez keeping him close, and I could hear Martinez's corner saying, we got to get back up. We got to get this fight on its feet.
Yeah, even if you won the first 2 rounds, you don't want to get complacent and just kind of, you know, spend the last round on your back because you know you banked the first 2. You know, you want to still put an exclamation mark on this fight. If you're here in the LFA, if you're fighting, you're winning, and you're competing, you want to get to the bigger shows. So if they go back, Sean Shelby and Mick Maynard go back and watch this fight and say, well, this guy just kind of, he knew he won the first 2 rounds and just kind of
took his foot off the gas.
Yeah, they don't want guys like that.
No.
They want guys that are looking to finish fights and put an exclamation mark on their performances. Right as I say that, Huff gets back to that half guard, looking to pass. But Felipe savvy to it, using his butterfly hooks to retain the guard. I mean, but Huff's got to get busy. He's got a minute left. He's got his head. Look, you got your opponent's head on the fence, in full guard. It's time to get to your feet and start bombing on him. You got to start taking a chance. Just like we said in the last fight, Ron, you're down 2 rounds. You got to sell out. You got to pursue that finish.
Huff has got a few shots in, but not doing a lot of damage. And he now has 30 seconds to do something.
Oh, and he's looking to pass. He's going to backstep with that left leg. Good leg pummeling from Henry Huff. Looking to pin that leg down and slide his right leg through, but you know, we're down to 12 seconds left in this fight. It's, you know, it's a little too late. His best round of the fight, unfortunately, wasn't going to be enough to secure the win.
Horn sounds, and we will once again go to the judges' scorecards. LFA.
Scorecards, and all 3 judges score the bout 29-28 for your winner by unanimous decision, Felipe Martinez.
Third win in a row and first inside the Legacy Fighting Alliance octagon. Now 4-1 is Felipe Martinez, and definitely a fighter to keep an eye on in the LFA featherweight division.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, definitely a solid performance. Look, I'm not going to harp on him about that last round. I'm not going to take away from the great body of work he had through those first 2 rounds. I mean, the kicks were on display. He showed good power in his hands. And to me, as great as his offense was, I was really impressed with his defense, the way he defended his shots, the way he was evasive.